HRT is not going to fix that root cause that's making you feel like garbage. If your body can't use or process or get rid of those hormones properly, you will feel more bloated, more anxious, more moody, more inflamed. On HRT can do things that can then help us potentially be motivated, but it doesn't make us lose weight. We didn't throw HRT out all the way. Instead, we focused on creating this environment where your body could actually reap the maximum benefits from that HRT. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Metabolism and Menopause podcast, where we help you understand this new body of yours. Maybe you've started experiencing some hormonal changes, maybe you're postmenopausal, but we know now that your body is inherently different than it was before. And so those old fat loss strategies just really aren't working anymore. So it is time to learn how to work with your body instead of against it, so you can unlock those fat burning pathways, improve your energy, and get your confidence back again. So today I have a very fun topic because this is a topic of conversation that's been coming up a lot for me, which is I took HRT and I felt worse and now I'm fat. And we see this all the time where HRT does in fact backfire, and HRT has tons of benefits. I'm not denying that. Many of our clients are on HRT and they feel really good on it. However, there is always going to be, this situation where a lot of us think that if we go on HRT, we are going to feel so much better. It's going to solve all of our problems, right? It's going to get rid of the mood swings. It's going to improve the brain fog. It's going to address my broken sleep. It's going to get rid of that belly fat. I'm going to go on it and I'm going to feel amazing. But we also hear a lot of women who this is not the case, right? And they feel alone because everywhere you read is HRT so great, HRT so great. And it can be absolutely and great for your health if you actually are a part of the people that can reap the benefits from it. And so we see this side of women who are starting to gain weight instead. Their digestion is getting worse. They're feeling more emotional. They feel like they're taking steps backward instead. So today I'm going to share what can happen on HRT, what should happen on HRT, why it can backfire on your body, and what you need to know before going in HRT so that you can actually be that percentage of people that feel great on it, as opposed to it just didn't work for me, right? Because HRT is not a villain, but it's also not this like unsung, crazy, beautiful hero that we all have been told about, right? Because I mean, let's face it, many of us are so desperate for relief. We're just so sick of being where we are. We're sick of waking up at 3 a.m. We are sick of feeling like strangers in our body. We are sick of working out and eating clean and watching our carbs and being go, go, go and hitting the gym and still feeling inflamed, exhausted, and like you're getting absolutely nowhere. So when that HRT kind of gets brought up, we're very hopeful, right? Oh, my hormones are going to be balanced. I'm going to sleep so good. My emotions are going to be great. I'm going to finally lose that weight. But that isn't always the story. And so I want to talk about my client, Tina. Obviously not her real name, but Tina came into coaching when she was on HRT. And when we first started talking, she told me about like the first 3 to 4 weeks when she had actually gone on it, when she started it. And she said, my clothes started feeling tighter. I felt like I was retaining water. I was feeling more puffy. My sleep was different, but, it didn't feel good or like right. It's just different, not necessarily better. And she's still feeling irritable. And she kept thinking, maybe this is just an adjustment period. I just got to like push through it and then I'll feel amazing, right? And so she stayed on it for another month and still didn't improve. So by the time she started coaching with me, she'd already been on HRT for 4 weeks. And so I do what I do best. And we dug a little bit deeper, right? And so here's what we discovered. And this is something that is incredibly common and we see in women all of the time. So if you're someone who's been on HRT and it didn't go well, or you're on it right now and struggling, these are some of the things that could be happening to you as well. Because HRT is not going to fix that root cause that's making you feel like garbage. Right? So when we did a Dutch test with her, we found that her cortisol was high. Her blood work showed that she was insulin resistant. Her liver was sluggish, which means her body isn't detoxing hormones well, which means, estrogen's not getting broken down and gotten rid of out of her body either. So it started recycling. And so now she became estrogen dominant, which was leading to a ton of the symptoms that she was experiencing. And this is something that is not uncommon, right? And so when we're adding more hormones to that mess, it's just like adding gasoline to a fire. Like it's just not a good situation to be in. And so when we are looking at this for women, it sucks because, we're given HRT based off of symptoms. That's a standard of care and it is helpful. However, we don't dig deeper first. We don't run a full lab panel most of the time, right? We're not doing Dutch testing. We're not looking at liver health. We're not looking at cortisol and stress and insulin resistance. We're not digging deeper to understand the dominance and deficiency patterns. We're not digging deep enough into history and asking, what were your periods like before? Because that can usually give us a good indication as to what's going on as well. Because the thing is, if your body can't use or process or get rid of those hormones properly, you will feel more bloated, more anxious, more moody, more inflamed on HRT than you were off of it. And so I do want to speak to this specifically because I've been having this conversation a lot where women are being prescribed estrogen only and progesterone doesn't even get brought up, especially if we are looking at someone who is without a uterus, which is wild to me. Because first of all, when we are looking at hormones for a woman, there are so many things we need to consider: estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and the women's hormones and how they function together is like a beautiful symphony. I learned this from Dr. Jimmy Bowen, and he was telling us how it was just such a beautiful analogy, a way to illustrate it. So a dude, it's testosterone that runs the show. And as long as the drum is drumming, guys are happy, they can lose weight easily. You hop into like a 4-week challenge, you and your husband do it together, and he loses 20 pounds and somehow you gained 3, right? Testosterone. As long as the drum is drumming, you're golden. For a woman, we have this like orchestra. And so everything has to work together so beautifully. And if one thing is off, we can tell, and things just like don't really, jive well together. We need to orchestrate everything. It's a little bit more complicated, right? And so when we're looking at this, estrogen gets the show, right? Like we know there's so many benefits to estrogen. I'm not denying that, right? Like it is phenomenal. Bioidentical HRT, estrogen, awesome. However, what I see a lot is that progesterone doesn't even come up in the picture half the time. And progesterone is a thing that drops first. So we're in this estrogen dominant state and people start giving you more estrogen when we already have too much estrogen compared to progesterone, even if it's lower. This is why seeing everything all together and understanding this is so important. And so if you're a woman who has had a hysterectomy specifically and your doctor puts you on estrogen and says you don't need progesterone, find another doctor. And this is such an old way of thinking. It drives us insane. We see it so commonly, and hysterectomies are so common now too, which is wild. And so the old thinking is that you don't need progesterone because since you have no uterus, we don't need to worry about estrogen-induced endometrial cancer anymore. So there's no need for progesterone. That's what they think, right? But that is such an oversimplification of what progesterone actually does in our body. And this is largely false. And here is why. We know that estrogen promotes growth in breast tissues. Progesterone will help keep that growth in check. 85% of breast cancers are driven by estrogen. Low progesterone increases risk of breast cancer. Too much estrogen without progesterone will impair detoxification even more. So then it's harder for our body to process toxins. We see more inflammation. Toxins get stored into fat cells, changing the structure of those fat cells, making them harder to break down. So fat is even harder to lose. And then we also see that recirculation of estrogen, making you even more estrogen dominant. And we know that estrogen dominance can result in symptoms like brain fog, low motivation, promotes fat storage, can even worsen insulin resistance and inflammation. All of those things block your fat burning pathways, overstimulate your growth and storage pathways, constantly telling you we have enough, let's store, even though you're eating less and moving more and doing all the things and taking HRT, right? But it can actually make things worse. And so if you are put on estrogen, always ask about progesterone because unopposed estrogen is not good for us. Also, progesterone is more than just, taking care of our womb, right? It is important for brain health. It is important for bone health. It is important for our nervous system. We know that when we have progesterone, we can fall asleep easier. We are less anxious. We are typically feeling more calm and relaxed. We're sleeping better, stabilizes our mood. We love progesterone. Our household loves when we have progesterone as well because nobody likes us when we're not those things, right? We also see that progesterone helps support insulin sensitivity, our thyroid function, our fluid balance, and all of those things drastically impact our ability to lose fat or to gain fat during perimenopause and menopause. We know that if thyroid slows down, your body is worse at burning calories. When your body's not good at burning calories, weight gain, very easy. Weight loss, very challenging. And so we need to make sure that it's not just about estrogen. We also need to look at progesterone. We also need to look at testosterone because all of those impact how we feel, how the body functions, and also our ability to be able to lose weight. Because if things are inflamed, blocks fat burning. Every single time. You can do all the right things, but if you are chronically inflamed, you are going to struggle with weight loss because your fat burning pathway is blocked. So let's go back to Tina. Right? We talked about Tina. We talked about how she had high cortisol. We talked about how she had a liver that was sluggish. We talked about her being insulin resistant, that her body wasn't detoxing things well, right? And so what did we do with Tina to turn it around? And it's going to vary a little bit from person to person, right? Based on why they're struggling. But for the most part, inflammation and detoxification and blood sugar and cortisol, those four things are the things that we need to focus on. That's exactly what we do in our program to make sure that, we're opening our fat burning pathways, that we are improving energy, making our body better at burning calories, pulling us out of that growth and storage pathway, but also setting your body up for a state where it can receive stuff and react the way we want it to, right? And so we hit pause. We didn't throw HRT out all the way, right? We did stop relying on it to solve the problems because it's not going to solve those problems, right? So instead, we focused on creating this environment where your body could actually reap the maximum benefits from that HRT, right? Making sure that her body could absorb it, she could break it down, she could use it and get rid of it. So if you are not pooping daily, HRT is likely going to result in some estrogen dominant type symptoms, right? Like we want to make sure that we can poop out the extra hormones. Otherwise it recycles and then we become estrogen dominant. We don't want that. That's not good for us. So gut health needs to be taken into consideration. So for her specifically, what we focused on was supporting her liver and her gut so that her body could actually break down and use those hormones properly. And so what this looked like for her specifically was we removed alcohol for a bit, because alcohol puts a massive burden on your liver. When you have alcohol in your system, your body works very hard to try and get rid of it. We also see it just causes burden on your liver in general, just from chronic drinking, right? It doesn't have to be that much, but alcohol makes a big difference here. We focused on things like drinking dandelion tea and having enough cruciferous veggies to help with that detoxification. Having more eggs for choline, also very helpful. We worked on balancing her blood sugar and her insulin sensitivity. So what we did here was making sure that she was eating meals 4 to 5 hours apart. A balanced meal with protein and carbs and veggies on her plate all the time. We paid attention to order of eating. If she was having a snack in between those 3 meals, we were having a smaller snack with maybe like some nuts and fruit. Maybe it was yogurt and fruit, a piece of cheese, veggies and hummus. So having some snacks that weren't going to spike blood sugars quite as much to help support that blood sugar, making sure she was eating within 90 minutes of waking. Those were all things that we did to support her blood sugar specifically. We also focus on lowering cortisol, and this doesn't mean having a bubble bath, right? This meant doing things that actually slowed her heart rate and breathing rate down regularly throughout the day. For me, this looks like prayer. This looks like time in my Bible. This looks like gratitude journaling. This can also look like, reading a not overstimulating book, having your feet outside, going for a very light, leisurely walk with no headphones in. You're not listening to anything. You're just enjoying nature. Maybe this is crocheting or knitting or doing cross stitching. Maybe it's an adult coloring book. Things that actively lower your heart rate and breathing rate. We did specifically for her, we did deep breathing a couple times a day. We would do 2 minutes, set a timer, focusing on breathing in and out as slowly and deeply as possible. It's crazy. I have it on my Oura ring. I share it all the time that doing feet up on the wall, doing deep breathing with it can bring me out of a stress state to a recovery state within a matter of a few minutes. But we're so go, 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 go all the time. And we don't think we're stressed, right? But when we're stressed because she would tell me, she was like, I don't feel stressed. It's like, but you're constantly on, you're constantly giving. She was a teacher. You're giving all the time. You're go, 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 picking up kids, rushing around. under eating, over exercising, dealing with sick parents, the deadlines, financials, all the things, right? Those are stressors and we're always on all the time. And so we need to take time to actually pull her body out of that. And then, of course, we focused on rebuilding her body's foundation. So focusing on the kind of nutrition that we were doing for her, focusing on resistance training, following a progressive overload program. We're building muscle mass, strategic step supplementation. So for her specifically, we were looking at creatine. We were looking at magnesium at nighttime as well. We did a B vitamin for her as well. And only then, after we worked on that for a few months, 3 months, then we slowly reintroduced her bioidentical HRT. And this time her body could handle it. And she was like, oh, dang, I actually feel good. Like my sleep improved so much, but this made it even better, right? She started seeing all those benefits more as opposed to it being detrimental for her body because her body could actually utilize it. We created the environment for success within her body. And so when we talk about weight loss, she started seeing weight loss before we even went on HRT. It was great because the truth is HRT does not result in weight loss. That is not what HRT does. It doesn't magically burn fat. It doesn't make your body better at burning calories, right? It can help with symptoms. Absolutely, like making it easier to fall asleep, which can then help with your recovery and lower your cortisol and inflammation. Also improve blood sugar by sleeping more, right? That's very helpful, obviously. It can help improve your mood. When you're in a better mood, much easier to go to the gym or have a salad than want to stay at home and watch Love is Blind while eating a tub of ice cream, right? And so the thing is that yes, HRT can do things that can then help us potentially be motivated, but it doesn't make us lose weight. You still have to go to bed at a decent hour and be in bed long enough to get the benefits of the sleep, right? You still need to go to the gym and lift in a way that actually builds muscle mass. Otherwise, you won't build muscle, right? You still have to do all the things. And so HRT will not magically build muscle, burn fat, improve your blood sugar, reduce stress, make you love yourself, or change the way that you eat. It doesn't. And if you don't change those things, you're not going to get the results. And so it does have other health benefits like better brain health and mood regulation, lowering your Alzheimer's risk, decreasing your risk of developing depression, improves your heart health, lowers your cardiovascular disease risk, slows bone loss, improves sleep. So yes, it can help you with all of those things, but it's not going to make you lose weight. We need to create an environment to benefit from HRT, but then we also have to create an environment where your body actually has open fat burning pathways, where you're not stuck in that growth and storage pathway, where your body is constantly being told we have enough, let's store, even though you're doing all the right things. So if you're listening to this and thinking, wait, I thought I was the only one who started gaining weight from HRT. I was the only one it didn't work for. You are not alone. I have this conversation with women all of the time. HRT is a phenomenal tool, but it is not a shortcut. It is not the answer. If your metabolism and your detox pathways are not functioning well, adding hormones will not help. It will likely make things worse for you. But the good news is that your body is not broken. You're just missing the right sequence. Once we address that root cause first, oh my gosh, then HRT can do wonders for you, right? But we have to optimize your body into a place where it can accept it. So what I want to do in our next episode here is teach you how to prepare your body for HRT. So stay tuned for that. Share this to anyone who's taken HRT that you know is struggling or is thinking about HRT, and then make sure you tune into the next episode where I tell you exactly how to prepare your body to get the most out of your HRT. Talk to you soon. Bye.